What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackowitz. This is the Caged Review, and I'm here to review Cobra Kai Season 1, Episode 10, which is the last episode for the season. I understand they're already working on number 2, which I think is great because I really did enjoy this entire season. And I'll talk a little bit about the season overall after Season 1, Episode 10. And so we have the All Valley Tournament now. And it really sets up like the old movie did. You know, you have all these series of events and the conflict growing between these two characters, and it's all settled at the All Valley Tournament. And so that's literally the beginning of the episode. You see them setting up the tournament itself, setting up the new match with the blue and gold the dude was talking about, and getting everything ready. You see all the martial artists lining up and coming in. And then it's just off to the races. This episode is literally pretty much 90% the actual martial arts tournament. And they added some really cool acrobatic type stuff. The one problem I've always had with both Karate Kid as a movie series and as this Cobra Kai series is that if you've been a martial artist, if you've actually trained and you know how to fight, it's very unrealistic. And you notice that some of the actors, they keep very basic moves, and then they bring in these guys who can do all these crazy acrobatic stuff and just get their asses kicked. It really doesn't make any sense. But you have to give it some grace because, let's face it, that's what the Karate Kid is all about, the underdog making it happen. Really the main highlights here were the big initial surprise, which wasn't really a surprise, is Robbie Keane, Johnny Lawrence's son, decides he's going to enter the tournament, and he's entering by himself with no school behind him. And of course Miguel is going to be the lead for Cobra Kai. And Miguel, after episode 9, is very angry, he's a little bitter, and he's kind of turned into the Johnny Lawrence character in the initial Karate Kid movie. And so I thought that was really interesting because at the beginning of the series, he was really the nicest character in the series. I mean, he was this really sweet, unassuming boy who was getting picked on at school, and now through meeting Johnny and learning the martial arts and getting a big head, and he's really transformed into this guy that is really unlikable. And he actually, to me, turned out to be the main villain in the series, which I thought was a nice turn of events, honestly. I didn't really see it going that way. Okay, so you have Robbie and Miguel are basically the two main guys that you're paying attention to in this tournament, and Hawk. There was another kid who was a friend with Miguel who was also picked on, who came into this martial arts school. He had surgery on his lip because he had cleft lip, and so everybody was picking on him for it. And even Johnny Lawrence was. So the kid decided to get a mohawk, change his image, and he became one of the cool kids and got good enough to be in this tournament and go through it quite a ways. So really these are the guys you focus on. You had last year's winner who goes up against, I believe it was Robbie. It was either Robbie or Miguel, and he gets knocked out really quick. And so you're at the end of the tournament where, of course, you're going to have Daniel LaRusso finally cheering for Robbie, who is the student he trained, even though he was pissed off that he lied about being Johnny Lawrence's son. His wife's like, what do you expect? He's a kid. And so he considers things, and he kind of makes his peace with that and decides to keep helping out Robbie, who by the end of the tournament is, under the Miyagi-Do banner. So that was cool. And the flip side of that, of course, is now you have this very jaded guy who was taught all the wrong things by Johnny Lawrence, and he is straight up Cobra Kai all the way now. And Johnny, he's really having a lot of remorse about the lessons he's taught this kid, because he's seeing that he turned a very nice guy into a real asshole. And so you can see the struggle within Johnny, realizing that, he was trying to do the right thing the wrong way, and in turn wound up creating the monster he was actually trying to avoid. And so it was a really interesting dynamic there, because now you have Miguel, his student, who is going up against Robbie, his son, and there's a big conflict there. And there's a scene where Hawk is going up against Robbie, Hawk from Cobra Kai, Robbie from Miyagi-Do, and Hawk, as Robbie's walking away, kicks him in the shoulder, messes up his shoulder, and that was the focal point for Miguel during their match. And there was a point where, it was kind of like the first movie where Daniel's telling Robbie, you don't need to finish this, and Robbie's like, yeah, I do. And the twist there is that Miguel goes over to talk to Johnny Lawrence, and Johnny's like, don't do it like this, I want you to win clean. And then Miguel's like, no, you taught me to win however you're supposed to win, to, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. And Johnny's telling him to do the exact opposite now, and Miguel's already in the mindset, he's like, no, I'm going to win this no matter what. And so it's 2-2 in the final fight with Miguel versus Robbie. Miguel goes straight for the shoulder and then gets the extra point and takes the win for Cobra Kai. So Cobra Kai now wins All Valley. And Johnny, who just reopened Cobra Kai and has found a lot of success with this, even though he won, still feels like he lost. And you can tell, you can see it in his face, and you can, see the regret that he has, which I thought was really, well played by William Zabka. And he goes up to Robbie, William does, and he apologizes. He's like, I'm sorry. And Robbie just says it's all right and walks away. And, Daniel looks at Johnny. He's like, well, it looks like you got what you wanted after all. And, you see Johnny at the table by himself, drinking a beer, feeling like absolute shit about it. And then the only other really big thing that happens during this episode is you see at the end Samantha, Daniel's daughter, back in the training room. She's been avoiding martial arts this whole time, but it looks like she's pretty angry at this point, and she does this like crazy flip kick, and that's where they cut away. And the very last part, I should say, is actually while Johnny Lawrence is sitting at the desk by himself in the dojo, Kreese shows up. And unfortunately, I knew Kreese was going to show up, so it kind of spoiled the surprise for me. I forget how I found out, but somewhere online I saw it now. It would have been a lot cooler if I hadn't known that was happening, but I saw it coming, so... but it was cool. It was cool to see Kreese and whoever that actor is. I'll have to look that up again. He looks really good, man. He's not young for sure, and he's really held his age very, very well. So that was really the end of the series. I thought it was very, very well played, honestly. They did some great relational work where you're kind of intertwining characters and how they interact with each other and the things they do that precipitate, events in the future. It was very cool. It was very cool to see. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with this with season 2. I am pretty interested, to be very honest. Like, I am definitely game for a season 2. Definitely an entertaining web series. I thought it was a great idea. Overall, big fan. For this episode, I would probably give it a strong 8 out of 10. Overall, the series, probably about the same. It was really good. Wasn't perfect by any means. Wasn't mind-blowing. But it was good. It was entertaining, and it actually hit some very cool emotional moments. I honestly, I think that was one of the strong points of the series, even though episode 10 was strictly the martial arts tournament. Building up to that, you saw so much emotion from Johnny Lawrence, and I thought it was great. Ralph Macchio I like, but I don't know that he can really sell his emotions the way Zapkid can. And, you know, it's definitely not trying to be a knock, but he can. And Tanner, the guy who plays Robbie, I thought was really good. Miguel, that actor is really good, honestly. So, I'm a big fan. That's kind of where I'm leaving off with it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And are you looking forward to a season 2? And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. Kaged Nation out.